Hello. Hello, Aaron. I live in Northern California, work in state government, making $115,000 a year. I'll be completely debt-free in about 18 months and rent fairly cheap for California, around $1,250 a month. I really recently discovered minimalism and really love the lifestyle, so my spending is pretty low now. My job provides full medical, and I have a pension that will pay me about $35,000 a year if I retire at 50, but would increase to around $85K if I stay until 55. Why does California have financial problems? There are lots of normies at work, but they don't bother me, and the boss is actually pretty decent. I've been here almost 25 years. I do enjoy the work and have some decent work friends here as well. My questions. 1, how much should I trust the pension? CalPERS, who runs it, is a behemoth. Still, California is highly dependent on tax revenues and lately has experienced a mass exodus. I would not, I can't guarantee it. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I would generally trust it, but constantly verify. You can look up the pension funding. You can look up the finances of your pension. That should be public record. But you should have a backup plan. I mean, it's sad. A lot of people have to have 2 pensions because here's what I think will happen. No guarantee. California is going to scare away its productive people, right? And the only productive people that remain will be the true believers in socialism and woke culture and virtue signaling. And even then, I think with having such mentally impaired and frankly psychotic people, even companies are not going to be able to function anymore. So its tax base will shrink. And so this will cause a financial deficit for the pension. And then a gray time or a malaise or a figure it out period will occur as politicians battle back and forth as to whether or not the rest of the country should pay, or we should all print off more money to bail out the egregious pensions that Californians bribed union members and government workers to go in and vote for them. Inevitably, because of the way the country is going, the country will say, yeah, let's print off more money and help out a bunch of overpaid government bureaucrats. Because that's what good people do. Why is everything expensive? Why is it $5 a gallon for gas? Why is rent $3,000 a month? I don't understand. It's the Republicans in the Senate. But because Americans are largely becoming dumber and more parasitic and slothful and lazy and stupid, they will probably vote to bail it out. I think the same thing will happen with Chicago. It'll happen all over the place. It'll happen all over. We'll just print it off to make the pensions whole, and then there will be a lot of inflation. So, but the question is, how long is that negotiation and argument period going to be between the Republicans and Democrats at the national level? Not to mention, they're going to have to hammer it out with the state of California, and that could be 4 years. It could be how long is it they're still waiting for a student loan bailout. How long have students been waiting? My God, do you know how long millennials have been waiting for a student loan bailout? How long have they, Aaron? They've been waiting so long that if they just worked their job, they wouldn't have student loans afterwards. So I would have a backup plan. Your minimalism is the number one thing, so you don't need that much money. So that takes care of the primary thing. But get yourself an IRA, maybe buy yourself a nice little piece of property that you live in with a little bit of extra land that you could parcel off later, diversified portfolio, that kind of thing. You have your silver, things like that, but you will need to run a concurrent retirement plan or contribute to a retirement plan outside of California. And here's another, that's not like they'll probably renegotiate. Is another option. So you may not get your full pension, but you get some. And so that way it supplements. And then do you get Social Security if you're in CalPERS? And then with your private retirement, you should more or less have enough. So I wouldn't trust it. I would constantly verify it. Stay on top of your pension funding. They come out, I think quarterly report. I'm not sure. I haven't been privileged enough to have a pension. So keep an eye on its finances. And frankly, I'm telling you, no, don't trust to come up with a plan B. I'm planning on having around $350,000 to $400,000 cash 401k 457. All right, that's good. 401k 457. And a Roth IRA by 55. Does that seem like enough? Depends on your life expectancy. So if you want to retire by 55, you have that amount. And you were to lose everything in your California pension, no, that would not be enough. Maybe if you move to some shithole in Alabama, maybe. But you need a little bit more than that. Because you're retiring that young. If you retired at 65, that might carry you through. But since you're retiring early, no. I'll most likely be leaving California. I've considered Hawaii, small minimalist condo with a nice view places. Okay, so then you choose the most expensive state in the union to go to. That's not minimalist. Cost of living there is high, but minimalism and eating only once a day helps keep my costs low. Are there any major red flags to moving somewhere like that? Yeah, everything is expensive. It all has to be shipped there. I'd go live in Hawaii a little bit before you before you commit to living there on a fixed income. I know it's a blue state, but I hope that tourism will keep the capitalism alive. Yeah, because you notice how the government responded to, like, just let's say an airborne virus that floats through. I mean, they totally didn't like shut down travel or anything. Also, it's inconvenient for peaceful protesters to get there, so that's a bonus. That's true. I had not thought of that. That is a good observation. Yeah, you're right. That is, I mean, if you like Hawaii, okay, but you're gonna need, do some budgeting. Do a cost of living adjustment. They got that now. Like, oh, what's the cost of living adjustment in Hawaii? Go live there. Go rent a room for 3 months. See what your budget is, and then prorate that times 4. Did you want a video? Oh, you did want a video. So there you go. Yeah, it's not going to be enough. I'm afraid it won't be enough. If your pension goes south. I don't think you'd be starving either, but and another thing, like if your parents died at 72, yeah, okay, you'll be all right. But if your parents are still alive and kicking and they're in good health at 97, you're not retiring at 55, by the way. Because then you got like 40 years left to live, and your little 400,000 is not going to last you 40 years in Hawaii. Wow, look at all the super chats. Aaron, should I rely on my super chat and fans only money? No. Invest in septic tanks. Juan Navarro for $5. Just moved to Tennessee and ride motorcycles. True. Much better than California and Minnesota. South Dakota is too cold, but don't buy a Harley. Mine is still broken down. Come on, guys. You should don't get Harleys. Just get a Honda. Or any Japanese bike. They're all good. Just me for $15 generous. Can you say something about children of brilliant people not being brilliant themselves? There's generally a correlation, but there is also a regression to the mean. That just because your parents are super high IQ doesn't mean you will be. Consequently, if your parents are stupid, doesn't necessarily mean you will be either. Though there's generally a higher chance you will be. There is a correlation. I would also say children of brilliant people, if their parents are good parents, I don't believe there is a core IQ. There's what your max potential capabilities, like what your brain can fully operate at, top speed. But very rarely do people ever get to that top speed. And depending on your environment and how much your parents push you, and if they push you in the right way, I believe that over time, as your brain is developing, you can increase that top speed. No different than working out your muscles. But also, I would say your work ethic is way more important than your IQ. Because I've seen brilliant people and I deserve, like Andrew Yang's a perfect example. That guy would be a fucking bum without his rich Asian parents. And he's pretty smart though, too. But the guy's got no work ethic. I actually know a couple homeless people who are brilliant. I mean, even smarter than me. So IQ is only one piece of the puzzle. I mean, it's how much do you try? And so, if you put them in the right environment, you make them work out their brain, they will come out smarter, functionally, practically in the real world. Because somebody with an IQ of 105 who works 80 hours a week, he's going to train his brain or her brain to be whatever task they're doing very good, very proficiently. And they will have effectively a higher functioning IQ than a guy who's got an IQ of 140, but, came from the wealthy suburbs and mommy and daddy sent him off to St. Kate's and he or she majored in poetry. That person may have the raw potential, but they'll never go top speed. Island Hermit, $5. Big island of Hawaii is cheap if you live off grid. I'm buying some land. Oh, here we go. Got a guy who can give us some information. Buying land on an island end of summer, getting a school bus, tiny home with solar, and grow food. Hey, you and Better Bachelor. All right, there we go. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, AstroConsulting.com. I'll see you guys later. Toodle.